or you can choose to parry. A lot riskier, but blocking is definitely not such a great option in this game. It will negate some. Hello YouTube, Flame Visit here with another Metroidvania. Or is it? I actually don't believe this falls under the Metroidvania umbrella genre of games. It does have a large interconnected map, but Dark Devotion falls very easily to the Souls-like type of games. I found this one polarizing, so let's talk about it. So Dark Devotion opens up with a story of some nameless religious follower who's joined an expedition to explore a mysterious holy temple. They were actually part of a war campaign that just has reached this temple. Now you must brave the depths of the temple and test your faith. You'll meet others that have tried to brave the temple's depths, but only to be met with some crushing defeat and despair, as there's a lot of horror and madness that lies within the depths. It's leaning very hard in this grim, dark fantasy aesthetic, and there's no end to the dead bodies and NPC notes and conversations of "you're not gonna make it in here, trust me," that just add to the feeling of despair. It's also quite cryptic in its storytelling beats, opting for the Souls route of drip feeding some background lore through notes and these NPC conversations that you have to search for. Graphically, the pixel art does a good job conveying the grim, dark atmosphere. Creatures hobble around listlessly, then spring to life quickly at your advance. Some enemies and bosses can convey a sense of body horror as you attack them, and they evolve to more powerful, horrific forms that are matched with the devastating attacks that they can deliver. There's a lot of comparison to Souls-like elements, more so than a Metroidvania. You can explore from a hub world called the Filthblood Sanctuary, and areas open up as you defeat more bosses. You don't get any extra mobility options, which are typically the whole hallmark of Metroidvanias. These are just strictly gated by bosses. Combat is a mix of stamina management between dodge rolling and using the various different weapons that you gain. Some of them, depending on what weapon you use up more stamina, and like large weapons use a lot more stamina, but they have more range, slower, stronger. That sort of options are typically available to you in Souls-like games. You also have a shield and parry options, so you can block or you can choose to parry. A lot riskier, but blocking is definitely not such a great option in these games. Typically, they will negate some damage, but you will use up a lot of stamina and probably put yourself in a position where you get stun locked. So, not always the best idea when it comes to these games. The issues I run into playing this is that it lacks some of the fairness and polish of more traditional Souls-like games. There's some cheap pitfall spike trap deaths, and some traps that don't get telegraphed with a sound, so they just hit you if they're hidden in the environment. And some relentless enemies that steal and make you drop your items mid-combat, including the ones that heal you. I think that as far as Dark Devotion is concerned, besides the lack of telegraph to certain environmental traps, the most annoying mechanic is the equipment loadout system. Now, this is kind of polarizing. I think that some people will like that this is a challenging thing that is available to you in this game as a central mechanic of the game, but I am not a fan of that. When you die in this game, you lose all your items and your equipment. As you progress, there are certain weapons that can be saved as a copy that the blacksmith can reforge before you go out exploring. So this allows you to have a specific loadout, usually a fairly basic one, to press your journey forward into the temple. This circumvents the ability to keep enhancing your gear or level up that Souls-like games allow you to experiment with, as the game is difficult enough that part of the fun is overcoming a game, your way with hard-earned customization. Basically, at least how I play Souls games, there's a level of getting good from skill, and then there's a level of, oh, I'm going to invest time into gearing up so that I can fight these bosses better. This game, Dark Devotion, doesn't really allow for that, so it has to lean in a lot more on the skill or a little bit of luck. If you find these stronger weapons and you're able to keep them, then you can go into the battles a lot stronger. But going in with the basic loadouts, even if they are boss weapons, and not being given the ability to upgrade them, is a downside for me, at least. But it can be an upside for people that are looking for that sort of challenge. But you don't get to lose just everything. You do get to keep currency that can be used to give you some buffs, which can be toggled on sparingly. So far in my game it allows 2, and when you explore the game you find more things like runes that enhance your stats. But between the scarcity of items and the lack of traditional equipment upgrades, this has a lot more sweaty gaming to it on this Souls-like. But that can be fun for some people, and it can be fun at times for me, but there's definitely a hybrid, a mix that I would prefer. I'm giving the Souls-like a score of 7. Dark Devotion has an adequate amount of appeal for fans of this genre, and possibly even a level of difficulty that may be appreciated by those that don't want to grind levels or gear. Those that want an angle of deeper weapon, armor, or spell upgrading may be disappointed. In this genre, if you get good enough, there's not really a need for fancier gear. But to me, that's a value add to Souls-likes, that you can play the game a grindy way, or you can be more skill intensive and play a sweaty way. It has horror-ish elements that add to its overall presentation, that of being full of despair and hopelessness, which work for it. It's worth a shot, but you may need to be more patient to get a good sense for the game. Hopefully this helps, and thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.